Okay, welcome back, everybody. So we left off talking about people living on $400 to $600 a year, modern day equivalent, for thousands and thousands of years. And then, boom, we figure out how to dig this coal and oil up out of the ground. Industrial revolution, ideas, inventions feed off of each other. And we live much more comfortable lives today, at least when you're not sitting out in 24 degrees in a pig slaughtering house to just try to do your best work for your students. But anyway, so excess now is our problem. And some of you who've had me in class before know that I talk a lot about excess. And our drive through all those years was to get more and more, everything we could. The more food, the bigger our pig got to slaughter, right? The more food we would have through the winter, and then we might not starve to death. That quest for more and more and more is now killing us, right? You know, before COVID-19, and before the opioid epidemic began a few years ago, American life expectancy was flat and going down because of obesity and diabetes, because we just eat too much, right? People eat too much. They sit around and play video games too much. They have to work too much to pay for their house, which is way too big, to buy a TV, which is far bigger than anyone needs. So now, since the 1950s in America, we live in this incredible time of excess, and it's killing us now. And another theme I'm going to return to throughout the semester, it's going to kill a lot of people in the future, it already is, with climate change. I'm 51 years old. I'm probably going to see the climate change, the really bad effects of it starting to kick in, and then I'm going to die. But those of you here who are 18, 19 years old, when you're 51 and you're 71 and 81, the world's going to be a very, very different place with climate, and then that changes absolutely everything. The Pentagon, right? The center of America's military. Guess what? They say the biggest threat to our national security over the next decades is climate change, right? Climate change. And that's all because of excess, the burning of fossil fuels. So anyway, back to our book here. Here's a good one. This gets into a little more detail. Not a single household was wired for electricity in 1880. Nearly 100% of U.S. urban homes were wired by 1940. That is 60 years. Plenty of people live to be 60 years old. Imagine not even conceiving of how electricity could change your life, and then you can then flip a switch, right? Live a little bit longer, you get indoor plumbing. You don't have to walk outside to go to the bathroom. And in that same time interval, 1880 to 1940, the percentage of urban homes with clean running piped water and sewer pipes for waste disposal had reached 94%. This is the stuff that makes up lives, people. In short, the 1870 house was isolated from the rest of the world. But the 1940 houses were networked, right? Most having 5 connections: electricity, gas, telephone, water, and sewer. Now we can add internet to that as well, connected to the outside world. That's so big, right? We're talking everyday life, people like you, your ancestors, and what that was like. The networked house, together with modern appliance, changed the nature of housework, right? Women traditionally did the indoor work. And imagine you start your dinner with a pile of firewood and a live chicken. Nowadays, you buy maybe a rotisserie chicken, bring it home, pop the lid, and eat it. Or you take a chicken out of the fridge, put it in the oven, and 2 hours later, voila, right? Who knows what that chicken's life was like. But you knew your chicken in 1865, right? And that had to be slaughtered and it had to be processed, and you had to build a fire to cook it. It took a lot of time. So women's lives are very much freed up by modern appliances, and allows them to, of course, work in businesses outside of the home. And men, In 1870, more than half of men were engaged in farming, either as proprietors or farm laborers. You ever work on a farm, like a real farm? I haven't. My brothers did, but I was too young. The farm had gone out of business next door where I grew up. It's hard work. Throwing bales of hay, scooping manure, dealing with 800-pound animals. Jeez. Their hours were long and hard. They were exposed to heat in the summer and cold in the winter. And their labor was at the mercy of droughts, floods, infestation of insects. I don't have to worry about that stuff as an English professor. History professor in this case. Working class jobs in the city required 60 hours of work per week, 10 hours a day, including Saturdays. Half of teenage boys, any teenage boys out there? Half of teenage boys were engaged in child labor. And male heads of households worked until they were disabled or dead. You didn't have to worry about retirement, saving up, where are you going to move, because you worked till you died. This is not that long ago. How many times have I said that today? Good thing this isn't a drinking game. Take a shot whenever Berninger says, this is not that long ago. But by 1970, the whole concept of time had changed. The introduction of blocks of time that were barely known. So we talked about lived time versus measured time a while ago. So some other big changes in our time period: electricity, the internal combustion engine, that's what moves your car around, unless you have a Tesla. Healthcare. Why is healthcare so expensive now? Because it exists. Why is healthcare so expensive now? Because it exists. There's a lot they can do for you. 1865, you go to the doctor, oh, my side hurts. They feel you got a lump there. Oh, you got cancer. Here, you're going to die. Good luck. I'll come by and give you some whiskey as you're dying so you'll feel better. Now you get chemotherapy, you get the tumor cut out. Maybe you lead a healthy life from there on out, cancer-free. There's a lot of stuff that our health system does. It's very inefficient, but hey, I'll take it. So yeah, very, very, very important stuff. Yeah, very good. So I might drop a few pictures in here of some changes over this time period, pictures that I think represent it. So hopefully those will work. Pictures, please. Very good. Hope that was helpful. Otherwise, just sit and ponder this, right? I want you to ponder in this class. I don't want it to be like facts, 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 facts. Ponder. Not that long ago, 150 years ago, 200 years ago, human beings have been around for tens of thousands of years, as we are. And I think, as I said earlier, that's why sometimes our modern life is so disorienting. Our genetics have evolved a little bit over time, and then suddenly the world that we live in changes far faster than anything our genes and evolution can keep up with. And it's very disorienting, the world that we live in to us. And I think it's for that reason. So, were the good old days any better, any worse? I don't know. They were days. They were days. We live in our own time. And in order to understand our own time, to help make sense of the world that we live in, we study history.